Welcome back, Wash Up Walk-Ons fans, episode 273 of the podcast. I'm checking in from a new location, finally in Nashville, Tennessee. Just got here today. Kevin and Tyler told me that I was lacking a little bit of energy, so I'm going to pose this question to them, trying to potentially bring the energy to this podcast. Fellas, what is better than football?
What is better? Well,
championship football, motherfuckers. And guess what? It's championship week, baby. And that's the type of energy.
There we go. I was about to say, I don't have an answer for you.
I was like, does he want me to say sex? I'm confused.
Nope.
Oh, well, that'd be false.
Nope, that doesn't come close. Big Ten championship football is so many tiers above sex that they don't even belong in the same sentence. Kluver, take it from here.
Hey, must be nice, baby. Must be nice. That's a nice intro. Drake. You know, I've questioned their loyalty before, both of these guys, Kevin, Drake.
You haven't been questioning my loyalty in a long time. It's been like a year, at least.
It's been a while on Drake.
Drake's like 15 months.
That's true. It's been a while on Drake. Kevin, it's sort of a weekly thing. And that's okay, because we like that he keeps us on edge.
And I've gotten $0 from this podcast. So that's fair.
And I haven't paid him a dime. And to be honest, for quarter 3, I've also gotten $0 for this podcast. But that's neither here nor there. Drake, if anybody was questioning the loyalty, that at least ends for a month today, because he drove, 16 hours yesterday?
It was probably a full 15 yesterday and at least 10 today.
15 hours to Texas yesterday, stayed over in Texas, woke up this morning, dealt with a bunch of people from Arkansas on the drive.
Let me tell you something about Arkansas. Arkansas can be removed from planet Earth via nuclear bomb, and all of the truck drivers who are hauling freight with the license plates from Arkansas can go right to hell with them, because Interstate 30 that turns into Interstate 40 going east across the United States through the gigantic state of Texas and into Arkansas is so infested with truck drivers. It is 5 semis to 1 car.
Oof.
For a stretch of 150, maybe 200 miles. Dude, I am not shitting you when I tell you that the highway was far too narrow, and there was 3 times too high a density of trucks, that with a speed limit of 75, we were averaging a speed of about 67 in the fast lane. And I had hours and hours and hours behind me and hours ahead of me. And I was not real thrilled to be doing 8 miles an hour under the speed limit due to some cocksucking semis deciding to drag race each other down the interstate. I digress.
And this is why I am surprised that it's not just the Kevin and Tyler special tonight. Kevin, how's your last 3 days been since the Hawks decided to eke their way into the bowl game with the help of the Gophers?
Pretty good, man. I've been sleeping like a baby these last 2 nights. I mean,
dude, have you? Because I haven't. Last night I woke up at 3:30 and I was restless for 3 hours, 2.5 hours until Lauren and I woke up, because all I could think about was the excitement of being a fan for this trip around to Indy, but then also the boys are coming to town and we're doing a little meetup. Okay. And the walk-ons have not done, I've been talking about this. The walk-ons have not been in the same place in a public setting as the walk-ons, right? Like for an event that is our thing since the 2019 Kansas City golf tournament. And that was when we were nobodies. Granted, not really anybody now, but we're more than we were. And I've got a feeling, boys, that this 3 to 6 time window at Tin Roof, Indianapolis, bar about a mile northeast of the stadium, it's going to get rowdy. It's going to get a little rowdy. And we're also going to do a pregame show, the show that I do normally after with Doug Wagner on 600 WMT. We are going to do the pregame Iowa Bumper Brigade featuring Kevin Ward, featuring Drake Kulik. They're going to make appearances on the show as well. That's going to be interesting. And I hope to see all of you beautiful people there, smoked in Hawkeye colors, just beer, food, and good times. And I was awake at 4 a.m. thinking about it because I'm a little anxious. I want to start with this. We're gonna two-part this episode. There's gonna be one cut in the middle because I got a few topics to talk about in between. The coaching carousel of college football.
Oof.
Now, what would it?
Some bitch, if it was an actual carousel, would be tossing kids off. How fast that thing's going.
That thing is spinning now. Spinning.
The carny who's running that thing jammed that lever forward too far and broke it off.
Now, Lincoln Riley, reportedly, what was the number?
$110 million.
$110 million.
I didn't see over how many years, though.
They were buying his 2 houses in Oklahoma. Excessive. Hey, don't need 2.
So I think he was currently living in one. They're building a new one to move in.
Okay. Makes more sense, but still. They were also going to buy his new house, $6 million reportedly, in LA. And they were going to give him unlimited 24/7 use of the private jet. Now, I say to you, where do you find any cons to that situation? How do you turn down that job? Even if you're the most loyal guy on earth, like, tell me where.
Well, here's your answer. Because 110 million turns into 50 million when you're in LA.
It's true.
So really he signed for 10 years, 50 million, not 10 years, 110 million.
That is trash.
Secondly, he has to live in LA. He has to put up with LA, everything, the homelessness, the pretentious cunts everywhere, the traffic, the mayors and the governors. And I mean, you have to put up with so much bullshit that you couldn't get me to move to LA for 10 years, 50 million. It's not worth
honestly.
it.
Yeah,
to have to still do a full job with all the stress that comes with being a football team, head football coach, especially at USC, when he's got the job of now completely overhauling their program, recruiting wise, because they've got a bunch of front running pussies and instilling a new culture. And I mean, the guy does not have that desirable job staring him in the face. And he also has to live in LA, which, I mean, you actually couldn't pay me to do it.
So I'm with Drake to a degree. The worst part about that situation for me is having to live in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Because I think that sounds horrible.
Well, the tax thing Drake brought up was actually a really good point too.
Yeah, but you got to imagine most of that's coming from the federal government, which you're not escaping unless you move to Columbia.
No, he's paying 13% to the state of Los Angeles, or state of California and city of Los Angeles combined, just so that he can then pay an insanely inflated amount for property, an insanely inflated amount for gas, food, living, et cetera. And then he has to deal with LA. Like, it is so many tiers of negative things that I'm actually surprised that they were able to get a coach as high value as Lincoln Riley.
But private jet. Private jet.
I mean, private jet.
Private jet, right?
That's a lot.
And
because then you don't have to live in LA. You just take the private jet every morning.
Right. Yeah. And I also love I don't know if it was Kevin or you, Drake, who put the other stipulation in there in our chat, but I think that would be a good one to add into the fine details of the contract. Not going to say it on the podcast.
I don't remember it. I don't think it was me because I don't remember it.
Okay. It was Kevin, which doesn't surprise me at all. And you guys thought this was going to get political when we cut to Steve Dace in the middle of this podcast, who I reviewed or previewed Michigan with. That is going to be a treat for you guys. About 32 minutes of an absolute encyclopedia of Michigan football, not just Michigan football, but Big Ten football in general. So stick around for that. It's a really good segment. But Kelly getting $15 million a year to go to LSU.
I think it was like 9.5 base with like incentives built in on top of that.
And gave his team, which I just watched right before we started the episode, a nice little 4-minute goodbye speech.
Someone recorded it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta see this.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that one?
Is 4 minutes too long or too short?
I would say it's a little too short.
Oh, I was thinking it was too long. If you're leaving, get the fuck out. I don't need 4 minutes from you. Give me 40 seconds and get the fuck out of my face.
You're just a different guy, man. But
yeah, so I mean, like, was it just like he gave his speech and left? Did he answer questions? Did he
there was no
hands, give him a hug or anything? Or he just
I don't believe so. I cut it off right at last 30 seconds because honestly, I was kind of like Drake. I was like, I'm fucking over this. You know.
How was the speech? Was it, you know?
It was
if
very
you were
much
sitting in the front row. Where would you be like? What would you be like, Drake? Like, just stop wasting my time, asshole.
I think you'd be leaning towards that side. Yeah, it was non-inspiring. He talked about how the last 12 years of his life have been the best 12 years of his life, and he needs a new challenge. And yeah,
needs a new challenge. Last I recall, he has not won a national.
I was gonna say, how about just take the challenge on of bringing a natty to Notre Dame? How about that?
Or like when you what have they been in the playoff? Two times or 3 times?
I don't know.
Well, they went to the national. They went to the BCS before it was.
Yeah.
They got their asses whooped, and I think they were in the playoff twice and got their asses whooped both times. So, I'm not sure he's lacking in any
challenges. Yeah, it's a little tough.
I mean, yeah, it's tough when you have these coaches, you know, going out recruiting and talking to these parents and talking to their kids like, hey, like, you know, I want your son to come play for us. I want you to be all about Notre Dame or Oklahoma, whatever that is. Talking about the culture you're building and then bounce. And on the other side, these guys are getting offered just stupid amounts of money. Like, honestly, I do not believe that a head coach is worth $110 million. I think what you get is got to be from the whole staff. Like KF, if you gave him a dog shit staff, KF wouldn't win 2 games a year. You know, it's about the whole staff that makes it up. And I just can't justify giving one single guy.
Kevin, don't forget, Brian sucks.
I can't justify giving one guy over $10 million a year. Because what is the head coach to you guys? What is the head coach in your guys' eyes to the program?
He provides.
He's just like the president of the United States. He's the face, and everything runs through him. But he builds a team of advisors and people who he deems good for his direction.
So, he is
the decision maker who puts in place the other decision makers.
Right. Just like what's the head of a university? Like, you know, what does the head of a university really do besides sit there and look pretty and meet with other dudes that look pretty and talk about how much money that the universities are making?
So this is where I was going with this. Like, you have your one guy, he's got his vision of his culture, what type of football they're going to play, and the guys he wants to bring in. That's it. And he has to bring in these guys, these coaches, these strength coaches, and these players that fit that vision and make it kind of happen on the field. But none of that can happen without the staff around you. None of that can happen with the players that you bring in. And I just got to believe that it kind of hurts your, you know, prestige a little bit to make moves like that. You know?
You're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Kevin, you don't think that the amount of money is too much, or maybe you do. You think that it's distributed unevenly at that level.
I mean, don't get me wrong. College football is a massive business.
Yeah.
I'm sure a successful USC team more than pays for what they would, what they're paying Lincoln Riley. You know, I don't think they wouldn't make this
No,
investment if they were losing money on it, unless some boosters out there just paying for all of it.
Right.
Who just
Well,
cares
here's
about
the thing,
USC
is I
football
think
that
that-
much or LSU football that much. But yeah, I do believe, like, you know, it's a team effort. And by a team effort, I mean like the whole staff's effort. I can't justify a head coach making $10 million while he's paying his running backs coach like $250,000.
Yeah.
You know,
So
like,
yeah. So if you
I'm not sure that SC's football team is really that much in the green. It would have to be from their TV deals and stuff, because from what I understand, like SC fans, because I'm good friends with an SC fan, and like they have been turned off from the program for a while. So like the program hasn't been doing all the numbers that like the Hawks would have been in ticket sales and merchandise sales and yada yada yada, because people have just kind of like not been caring about the university, from what I understand.
yeah, sure. I mean, they've had a pretty downturn. They've run through a bunch of coaches recently, and
So
you
it
know,
must be
I think
just
they're
boosters
fighting to go
and
6-6
TV deal.
this week. You know, I can understand why the fans aren't like, okay, all that excited. Maybe this brings the excitement back, a big name like this. Here's another thing. I got a question for you guys. How good of a coach is Lincoln Riley? He got handed the keys to a Maserati. He didn't have to build anything in Oklahoma. It was built.
Yeah,
just had
he's
to
always
keep the
had a
engine
Heisman
running.
for a quarterback.
That's true. His quarterbacks have been absurd. He's just like, you know, like what happens when they don't have a guy like that? You know, I mean, they're not going to be they're not in the playoff this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
So here's what I'm saying is, you know, do people want to follow you and your vision after, you know, you make moves like that? How do you go from telling recruits like, hey, I'm your guy, I'm your coach for the next 4 years, and then bounce to the next job, and then go and tell the next recruits that you're recruiting to your new school the same thing? It's like, I don't know, man.
at some
I
point
don't
you
know.
sell your soul, and it's just like, okay, this is the contract that makes me no longer 100% give a shit about all the things I used to care about, because
Right.
if I have to, I just ride off into the sunset.
Right. And I'm not saying that coaches have to stay in their at their school until they get fired or die, retire or whatever. But
That's a shirt. Get fired or die.
I love that one. We need to
Um,
make that one, and it's only after KF fully retires from the game and shows that you can do it all at one school, Khabib style. He
Right.
just retires undefeated after 40 years and no rape cases, Joe Pa. And then, you know, rides off in the sunset.
This whole thing actually.
Here's my thing is, like, I understand guys take better jobs, take bigger jobs. For these two instances, the way in which it was done is very distasteful. In the middle of the season,
Yeah,
for two
I
teams
really
that are still competing at a high level.
Yeah, I really dislike that part of it. I'm actually okay. Like, coaches are going to do
But
what they're
isn't
going to
this
do.
like the new standard? Coaches have been doing this for years now. They just all of a sudden decide that they're going to leave in the middle of the year. Like tons of Division I AA coaches over the past few years have been just like, yeah, I took this, you know, Florida job, or I took this yada yada job. Like we've seen that.
It looks a little worse when it's a team that, I mean, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's a couple losses away from being in the playoff right now.
They might still be. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. They might still have a national championship opportunity. That's what's sticky to me. I don't know. And I understand that, like, when coaches get fired and now there's there's a job opening, there's a window on that opportunity. So it's a dirty game with millions of dollars attached to it. This provoked a tweet from you, Kevin, about Coach Ferentz.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you saw it. Obviously, Drake, I don't know if you saw it, but I was like, you know, this really making me think about how, as a player, I probably took for granted knowing that KF was never leaving.
It never even entered our
The
mind.
thought never even crossed my mind.
For granted. It was so guaranteed that it would have been a fallacy. It was that's a fairy tale.
Yeah,
right?
I was just gonna say fairy tale. That Coach Ferentz would have not been our coach.
Yeah, that's just simply a fairy tale. So it's something that we were so spoiled with. Like, the comfort of, you know, a bank vault. You put your money in a bank vault, you're like, that money's not going anywhere. We were the bank vault of football programs. Like, we knew we were going to have our head coach no matter when we went back, right?
Felt good.
So,
Felt real good.
good.
Let's do that's an interesting topic, and it'll continue to roll on as more coaches leave. I'm real interested to see, the other hot coaches on the lot, like Matt Campbell. I'm really interested to see if he really tries to become the Kirk Ferentz of Ames, or if he bounces.
I mean, if he stays, I'd respect it.
I would too.
He might have coached himself out of these jobs. Supposed
Right.
to have the best team ever, go 7-5, but hey, they were together.
Iowa State is going to have to.
I don't think he coached himself out of it, because like, you look at a guy like PJ Fleck. I know his record was really good at his previous school, but I don't think Minnesota hired him for his record. I think they hired him because of his persona and like what they thought he could bring to his program, like him personally being the face of the program, even though we think he's douchey. Like, that's something that universities can get behind.
Sure. But yeah, and
Matt
to that
Campbell seems
point-
to be a pretty stand-up dude and seems to be like a guy that his players rally behind big time. So I think those are just the two reasons that a program would take him.
Sure. No, I'm not saying that. I was more saying like, what was I trying to say? He didn't have a great year, but these universities are throwing money at coaches who are, in my opinion, overrated.
Yeah.
Like PJ Fleck just got a
Yeah.
huge contract extension. Franklin got a 10-year contract extension. He went 6
Well, when you look at what
7-5.
KF makes, when you look at the very modest salary that KF brings in as compared to other elite Division I head coaches, like, say what you want about the season. I was just as big of a critic as anybody about some of the certain performance aspects of the season, but Coach Ferentz found a way to take a team with a not very talented offense and quarterback issues to a Big Ten championship. And he's making like way down the list when it comes to
I think it's
coaches' salaries across the country.
I think it's $4 million a year or something like that.
4.5, I
five
think,
now.
and some of these coaches might be making upwards of 10.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, KF's performance alone would warrant him, excuse me, up near the top tier of the Big Ten for just from year after year consistency.
Let's just say this.
Let alone tenure.
Let's just say this. If KF for some reason were to, like, if this 2020 thing with the racial allegations, if that would have pushed KF out of Iowa City somehow, every school that was even semi-questioning if they wanted their head coach would have been like, well, KF's available. Every coach in the country, or every team in the country, would have been like, Ferentz is, like, assuming that he wanted to go somewhere. Like, he's just that type of guy. We could talk about that forever. Let's
yeah, he got NFL offers like every other year,
right,
for the longest time.
Yeah. The reviews on the podcast are always fun. And I just
made that one, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna
tell us how dog shit we are.
And this one was funny because I know that Drake said the comment. 1 star. Title of the review is not great. This is from a while back too. Go leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, a rating at minimum, 1 to 5 stars. It could be anything.
Make it a 1 star.
Yeah.
Tell us what we are. Tell us we're trash. These
guys are entertaining and will give you a player's viewpoint. I would give it more stars, but some of the language is rough, and I don't. I think this is a different one because it goes on to say it's not why I listen to the show. Or did I talking about graphic violence and shooting people in the head with a 9, etc.
Well, I wouldn't have said 9 because I carry a 45, so it would have been you if it said 9mm.
That crap gets old, especially in this world's environment. Grow up. You may be washed up, but you guys could still clean up your act a bit.
Or we could be who we are. Human being.
Yeah.
Not some fraud on the internet.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Clean up my act. Good one, though. Insiders look at college football. Join Tyler, Kevin, and Drake in a wacky tour of all things Iowa football, from the nuts and bolts of offense, defense, special teams, to holes punched in walls and thrown trash cans. This podcast has it all.
Yeah, see, there we go. That guy understands what we're trying to do, man. We're trying to be football oriented with a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, I just scrolled past the one that said
I
Drake.
remember when Drake threw the trash can at you.
It was good. Yeah, it's an all-time story. The best review we've ever gotten is that 3-star that said Drake likes to mention dicks. Oh man,
I do.
Latest CFP
We have a
rankings.
Tuesday segment based off of them.
It's true. Latest CFP rankings before we go to a break. Georgia, number 1, Michigan up to number 2, Alabama at 3, Cincinnati holding on to the 4 spot. I don't know if you guys saw the extended rankings. Anything of interest there, or is this thing pretty much black and white as we head into championship weekend?
Thought interesting. There's no Wisconsin or Purdue in there.
Yeah, right. And I saw a tweet that was like, I don't know who it was. It was comparing Purdue to one of these other teams, and then they had the same record and compared their wins, and Purdue had 2 ranked wins or something like that. And yeah, 2 ranked wins, and the other team didn't have any. So it's just like, I don't know about some of these. Iowa at 13, probably 0 chance to make the football playoff. There's like a 2% chance if some wild shit happens.
What has to
Well,
happen?
that's better than the
Alabama
1%
definitely.
chance.
So
Got
essentially,
into the Big Ten
yes, Lucy Rodine actually did a great video on this. She makes content basically, I think, for her job. So this was a funny little video she did on Twitter. And then Drake just disappeared out of the call. So Georgia would have to absolutely smack Alabama.
Yeah.
Iowa would have to convincingly win against Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati would have to lose this weekend.
Yes.
So that would take Michigan, Alabama, and Cincinnati, all 3 of those teams out, which means we need 3 teams to replace those. Oklahoma State or Baylor is probably going to take that spot if that were to happen, right? So whoever wins that, winner gets in.
I mean, you could argue if Baylor wins, we still have a better resume. Maybe I don't know.
I'm not sure. Say the winner of the Big 12 championship gets in. Oklahoma State's 5, Baylor is 9. So those are 2 of the next teams in front of Iowa. BYU isn't going to get in. They're 12. Michigan State isn't going to get in because the winner of the Big 10 championship would be ahead of them. So they're at 11. Oregon's not getting in at 10, even with a win in the Pac-12 championship. They're at 10. Ole Miss is 10-2. They're not in the SEC championship. They're probably not getting in. Ohio State, they're not in the Big 10 championship, so probably not them. Notre Dame would be the other team that's probably going to get in with no coach. And so it would be Georgia, Notre Dame, the winner of the Big 12 championship, and then basically a choice between Alabama, Iowa, Ohio State, and Oregon, and we would be a Big 10 champion. So, but again, convincingly have to beat Michigan, right? I don't know. It's probably not worth discussing anymore.
Yeah, it's not even worth it.
So let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of what that means for Iowa looking ahead to a bowl game. And then we'll get to everybody's favorite. And we're back. Tech guy.
Have to look up a couple games.
Tech guy with the edits. Yeah, look up, get your picks up. I'm gonna talk for a second here. Assuming that, well, let's just go through it. Let's say that the chalk lines up. Michigan beats Iowa this weekend. Michigan's going to be in the playoff. Ohio State is likely going to go to the Rose Bowl. Michigan State is probably going to find themselves in the Orange Bowl, or is that a
Citrus Bowl? I think
they would find themselves in the Citrus Bowl. I saw it somewhere else that was different. They were going somewhere different, and then Iowa got the Citrus Bowl. If I were to win, Iowa were to win, it would matter where we were ranked, because Rose Bowl takes the highest Big Ten team that is not in the playoff. So where do we go after that?
I think we're a Big Ten champion, though. We still go to the Rose Bowl.
You think the champion goes regardless?
Yeah, if the champion's not in the playoff, it goes to the Rose Bowl.
Okay. Well, then if we win, we go to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Because we're probably not going to the playoff. If we lose, it's probably Citrus or
Outback Bowl, baby.
Man, Outback Bowl at 10-3 would hurt, but it feels like an 8-4 bowl to me because that's when we went to it when we were 8-4. But I don't know. Outback Bowl is a good bowl. You know,
It's a great bowl. Hawks fans love it down there.
Outback Bowl is one of the most fun, dude. Tampa is a great place to go spend a few days as a college kid.
I would love to see the Hawks land in Orlando though, and play in the Citrus, which I believe
that was one I always wanted as a player, and we never got to go to.
And I believe the matchup in that game is the Pac-12 champion.
I only saw his SEC.
Was it? Citrus.
It might be at large now. They shift who goes to what.
Pac-12 champion goes to the Rose Bowl, Kloof.
Yeah. Well, okay. So maybe the next best, the Verbo Citrus Bowl. Last season it was Northwestern versus Auburn, so it is SEC. Yeah. So it would be. Would it be Ole Miss?
No, Ole Miss is probably going to the Sugar Bowl. It'd be the next team down, which. Ooh.
Kentucky?
No, not Kentucky.
Who is it?
Could be Alabama.
Oh shit! Yeah, because they wouldn't be. Oh, you think? No. Why would Ole Miss go to the Sugar and not Alabama?
True.
You're just because that's probably based off rankings as well.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's
Ole Miss.
So it's one of those two teams though. Assuming Georgia wins.
Yeah, it's obviously assuming Georgia wins.
That would be
probably one of those. Yeah,
that would be. Hey, do we want Bama? Fuck it.
Does Bama want us?
I think
that's
so.
a great question, Kev, right there.
You know what? Play the game in Lambeau Field on January 1st, and I bet it's a different outcome than if you play it down in Texas or Florida or somewhere.
100%. Dude, I say it all the time. One, these SEC teams don't do home and home series. They like to do these bullshit little neutral site games.
Yep.
Two, interconference play or pre-conference play is in August, September, the hot part of the season. So if they did do a home, they come up to the Midwest and it's still 75 degrees. I want to do some home series late in the year. I want to see those damn SEC schools come up to Wisconsin and play in 20-degree weather when it's snowing. I want to see I want to see them come up to one of these bowl games on Yankee Stadium where the field's actually frozen.
Can you imagine what they would have looked like on that ice rink?
Hey, we beat Nebraska 7 years in a row on Black Friday. Toss them to the curb. Give us a home and home with Alabama game week 12 of the season on Black Friday. Give it to us. See what happens. I bet that game's a whole lot closer than the South thinks it might be.
Yeah, dude, they don't know how to play in the cold.
I would love to see a team full of 70 dudes who hang out at no temperature ever below 60 come and play in 22-degree weather. I would love to see it. That their morale, just how much they would want to be there would almost that's like maybe a touchdown on the line right there. I would love to see it.
I would love to see it. Those specialists that start kicking a rock.
Yeah, hey Rodrigo Blankenship, come kick in the windy Midwest. You couldn't even make a game winner in the Dome in the SEC championship. So, yeah, I don't know. You tell me. Pisses me off. All right. Let's move on. Everyone's favorite. Kevin.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
and they stay there. What do we got, Kev?
All right, boys. Well, it's one of the best weeks of the year.
It's a great week.
It's probably second place to last week, though. That rivalry week is a great week.
I'll agree with that. Especially last week. The games were absurd last weekend.
They were great. It was just great football to watch. I mean,
Nothing beats championship week, Kev. I can't agree with that.
I don't know, man. Rivalry week.
When your team is involved in championship week, nothing beats it.
It's a little extra zest.
This is all the marbles, dude. This is one for all the marbles.
Yeah, it is.
I will say,
60
Drake,
minutes, every marble.
Drake, you're right. Like I said,
I'm just saying, as like a fan watching.
Yeah.
You got all these games, all these teams that hate each other's guts.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I'll tell you this. I'm excited as hell to watch Georgia, Alabama. I want to see legit, like, okay, what are we working with here?
I'm really interested in that one too. And we'll start it off right there. I got Georgia covering the 6.5 versus Bama. My one concern is who has Georgia played this year? If you look at their schedule, it's really not great.
It's not great.
Their best win is versus Arkansas and Kentucky, who are barely in the top 25 right now.
Yeah, I think they're 8-4.
They're 22-23. The SEC East is really weak, and they didn't really they played Clemson opening the year. Clemson's starting to play better, but kind of ended up being a paper tiger at the beginning of the year. No
paper tiger.
So that'll be interesting to see, but Georgia has won convincingly every single game. They don't appear to have a weakness so far. Offense, defense, special teams, they are a great football team. Alabama has looked a little vulnerable at times.
Definitely.
Last weekend, they couldn't move the ball. They're going up against a better defense this week. A few weeks ago, they given up points, and I think Georgia's got a solid offense. So give me the Bulldogs. Best team in college football all year long, and I think they're going to prove it again this Saturday. I also like the over in the Pittsburgh Wake Forest game at 72.
Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's a 39-36 outcome.
You got two teams that are good at offense and bad at defense, dude.
Jesus.
Dude, there's two games that stick in my mind. It's when Pitt played Tennessee like week 3.
Yeah.
It was like a 40-40 something game. Or when they lost to Western Michigan, it was in the upper 40s again. Wake Forest and Army combined for like 150 points. Dude, I think there's going to be points galore in this game.
Okay.
So give me the astronomically large over.
I got a feeling where we're going with this third pick.
You do?
Well,
that's the bonus fourth.
Okay, that's the fourth pick. Okay.
That's the bonus fourth pick. And then I like San Diego State -5.5 versus Utah State in the Mountain West Championship.
Okay.
Fourth pick. We'll save it all for the last.
Yeah,
we'll save number 4.
We got to talk that one because there's a few details we're gonna go over there. Man, it's such a good slate. You know, it's just like it's so diluted down into or condensed down into just quality games, championships everywhere. I'm gonna take App State -3 over Louisiana. Okay. I'm pretty sure Louisiana just lost their coach to Florida.
Yes, that is correct.
So, you know, there is the aspect of, well, maybe they stand up and just play the best game of their life. One last hurrah for their coach, or, you know, like, you know, I don't know.
For that asshole that just left us?
Or, well, you know, maybe they like him and maybe it's like a fuck you to him. I don't know. There's a whole lot of reasons where you see coaching changes. You know, the Raiders lost Gruden, and the first game out without Gruden, they come out like banging this year, right? I'm going to, so App State -3. I'm going to take Utah -2.5 over Oregon.
Okay. So that's an interesting game. It was like 2 weeks ago where Utah slapped the shit out of them.
Yeah.
How does Oregon adjust?
Right.
Interesting. That's a Friday night game.
Yeah. And I bet on Oregon, I think twice.
You did took Oregon versus Utah.
And they fucked me. So this is just, spite bet. And then Jesus, I mean, Georgia, Alabama, over unders 50, 49.5. I'm going under on that. I think, and this is on the thought that Georgia's defense is exactly who we thought they were, right?
I mean, they don't even have to be who we thought they were to.
Like I see
give Bama trouble.
I see this Alabama Georgia game as like a 28-14 game.
Sure.
Drake.
All right, boys. I like that under pick too, Kluber. Nobody can see it because nobody watches the YouTube, but I was hammering the under there. First of all, give me the Philadelphia Eagles -6.5 at the New York Jets. Philly's playing really good right now. They're not afraid of the cold weather. The Jets are the Jets. I know that. Yeah. Zach Wilson's also questionable. Not good for them.
Okay.
Second game, give me San Francisco -3.5 at Seattle, because Seattle's not anywhere near 3.5 points within San Francisco as of the past. Well, since Russ got back, he's been playing like dog shit. And so San Francisco's defense been playing good. I like them. And then third game, give me Jacksonville +13 at the Rams. The Rams just haven't been 13 points better than anybody. And
I like that pick.
Jacksonville hasn't been that bad. So there's my 3.
I like the Jacksonville pick. And Siege is rocking the Jaguars down there, holding it down. That brings us to
the consensus pick of the week.
The consensus pick of the week, and the most important
the hammer of all hammers.
Just the lock of the millennium.
Can't lose.
The Millennium Falcon is gassed up and ready to go to another galaxy.
And they're driving straight to Indianapolis, and they're putting all their money down.
Every single dollar on their mortgage, remortgaging their house, every cent. On
the Wolverines money line.
Money line.
It just can't be. There's actually no chance. It's not humanly possible for the Michigan Wolverines to lose this game.
They've already etched their name in the trophy and sent it to Ann Arbor. The team was pumping it up with the Big Ten trophy already in their facility. They stole our celebration and did it in Ann Arbor with the trophy already.
They're prepping for, in fact, this week at practice, they were prepping for a couple of the Big 12 teams, potentially Notre Dame, Cincinnati. They don't know who they're going to get. It might be Bama. They were looking at all their film. They didn't watch any Iowa film this week. It's in the bag.
They don't even have jerseys without bowl patches on them anymore. They already have the playoff game destination patched on their jersey.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure they got their bowl packages too. They already got their gifts.
The gifts.
So
did Gary Barta already tell them they're in the playoff?
Barta called them, said, "Hey, you guys are in."
And he even gave them their seed.
Yeah, they know, but nobody else.
The seed we were going to give you if you beat Iowa, and money line don't lie.
And we know that that's happening. So money line, Michigan, and our picks have done really well. So we hope that they continue to do well. And
our mortal locks have been stellar.
Yeah. They've all gone the same way. So that's what we're hoping for. And I'm just happy that we get to be there and watch Michigan just win that game, because it's a no doubter. In reality,
we'll see you sick freaks in downtown Indy.
Yeah. In reality, we are really excited to meet all of you this weekend. For those that are listening, Drake and Kevin, this is an odd sort of episode for them. We didn't talk about the game at all, but I did 32 minutes of game talk with Steve. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. You've listened to that at this point, and it's going to be a dogfight. The clear mismatches, the defensive line of Michigan, really the defensive front versus our running game. We got to be able to establish something. We got to find a way to score points, and it would be it would be a miracle if Iowa did win this game and we didn't somehow find a win in the turnover battle and points on special teams or defense. So it's really that simple. Spencer Petras is your starting quarterback. I don't truly think it matters that much. I'm happy with it. And we need a huge defensive performance, and also very excited for Torrey Taylor and Caleb Shudak in the inside environment. No cold balls, 72, no cold footballs, and no cold real balls, right? Because that matters. Can't have your nuts being cold when you're trying to smoke one through the uprights, you know? Had a bunch of, I do want to mention this. We had a bunch of people named to all Big Ten special teams, defense, offense. Riley Moss, the Phil Parker resume continues to build. Tatum Woodson, defensive back of the year, 5 of the last 10. Dude.
That's got to help his draft stock.
I mean, he didn't even play 4 games.
3 or 4 games.
That's insanity.
Yeah. He had a pretty good year. He's a pretty damn good cornerback.
Charlie Jones, the returner of the year in the Big Ten, elite.
Tyler Linderbaum.
Linderbaum today came out offensive lineman of the year. And then we had a bunch of other people. Caleb Shudak was the second team kicker, third team kicker. I'm not sure what he was named. Torrey Taylor was given honorable mention in his own conference. So revenge tour
is insane.
Yeah. So he's on the revenge tour next year. He's going to average 75 yards. We are stoked to see you guys.
He's going to go home and kick koalas for 6 months. He's going to be so pissed.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. We are going to have t-shirts. We're going to have flags at Tin Roof in Indianapolis from 3 to 6 on Saturday. Come hang out, meet the boys. We'll actually have 3 mini helmets that we're going to give away as well. Right, Kev? Don't forget those.
I'm definitely going to forget those.
If Kevin forgets those, he's kicked off the podcast for good. We're going to do a live radio show from 4 to 6. We're going to hang out, and it's going to be absurd, and then we're all going to go watch the game. So this weekend could not be more hype, and we get to experience it with all of you for the first time as a collective podcast. We're super excited to do it, and this thing continues to be what it is because of you guys. So 273, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll see you in Indy. Peace.